Buck, 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 buck. Okie doke. Let's see if we're live. Maybe we are. I don't know. Are we live? I think I'm live. Am I live? Okay. Oh, yeah. There we are. Okay. All right. We are live. We are live.
白岩学園3年 B 組の皆さん、こんにちは。
Okie doke. All right. So, today is a big flipping day. And I mean a big day. Holy cow. So, apparently, the U.S. federal government is considering declaring war on all of our mutuals. Holy cow. Holy cow. Now, I didn't watch all of the hearing. I only watched the introductory remarks. And it's about an hour and a half or so. If you actually watch or if you look at the video that's on the website, it's like it's a 2-hour file or whatever, but the actual hearing doesn't start until about half an hour into the video, and then it cuts off in such a way that the tail end there's another like 10 or 15 minutes of dead air. at the end. However, there is an hour and a half of 3 people being questioned about how to deal with WN. Now, of course, there are lots of fun things to think about, and I think I'm gonna download the whole video and go point by point on it, because there's really a lot going on there, even just within the introductory remarks. And one of the things that struck me is that even according to their own language, rather they admitted as much, they came out and said, we are going to use certain words interchangeably. That's really bad. The radical left in large part relies on legalism and a redefinition of terms to suit the needs of the current moment. And they're going to, because I'm using myself as an example in my own head, they wish to conflate white nationalism with white supremacy, belief in us being better than them. They wish to conflate white supremacy with acts of violence, with a violent ideology. So essentially, if you get labeled a white nationalist, you are now basically a terrorist. That's the direction that they're moving. And using myself as an example, I formally identify as a nationalist. Now, of course, this means nothing to them. They don't care. They will call me a white nationalist. How I think about myself is irrelevant to them. They don't care. They're looking for a punching bag. They're looking for something to attack. All I have to do is say that I'm a nationalist. They will notice that I am white. Boom, white nationalist. And they'll move directly into accusations of terrorism. This is the direction that they're going. And the only way to counter this, as far as I can tell, is we're going to have to get really serious about language usage. What I mean by that is we are, I don't know. We is kind of a weird thing to say, but whatever. I think that it would behoove anyone who counts themselves as being a nationalist. I think it would be really, really wise to start getting strict about your language use. Even though I actually do think that Jordan Peterson is kind of silly, I do agree with him on the point of be precise as you can with regards to what you say. Try not to be lazy with your language, because if you're going to be lazy with your language, and they will be lazy with their language. Not only are they going to be lazy, they're going to be deceitful. They, again, in their own words, they said that they are going to use words and phrases interchangeably. And so you can walk into any one of these conversations understanding very well that they're declaring that they're going to lie about you. And lawyers do this all the time. Lawyers do this all the time. When you are in court, they will strawman and they will attack and they will ad hom you to death. They will do it. And the only thing that you can do is anytime, and I'm not joking, this is not a joke, I'm not kidding. Anytime, and prepare yourself. My God, just in case some crazy bullshit happens. And things, because I think they're looking to start putting people in jail for being nationalists. That sounds hyperbolic, but I don't care. I think that that's what they're angling for. Anyway, prepare yourself. And anytime a person says something about you that is not true, the first thing you should do is think to yourself, objection. and clarify. Lies will be spoken. Now, I personally, this is my own belief. I'm only referring to Eke Lux. I'm not referring to anyone else. I personally believe that in terms of individualistic versus collectivistic thinking, I think whites have a pretty good balance. In terms of IQ, I think whites are doing pretty okay. Yeah, sure. Like the Japanese have a slightly higher IQ. Wow. Don't care. I think we got a good balance, and I'm comfortable with that. I'm happy with that. And I am also a nationalist. And if I say these things to a person who is a radical lefty, or an internationalist will say, the first thing they'll say is, you are an evil son of a gun, you are a white nationalist, you are a white supremacist, and you only wish harm upon other people. They will say that. They will say that. And the only thing that I can do is, as they say those things, object and say, that's not the case. I did not say that. I've never said that. You can't even point to an instance of my saying that, so you're obviously lying about me. And you have to do that all the time. You always have to point out that they are lying. You have to do that. That has to be done. They are, again, this cannot be stressed enough, they are announcing that they're going to lie. The only possibility is to simply speak the truth. There is no other defense at this point in time, and I'm aware that for those of us who live in the great Canadian outback, the truth is no defense. We're in some deep shit right now. In as much as there are people who simply don't care about the truth that will attack us. Well, yes, Jonathan Pohl is saying it's best not to talk to these people if possible. I'm not referring to going up and talking to these people. They're going to start coming after us. The entire judiciary hearing was specifically a declaration of intent. They want to come to us. There are two kinds of people in this world, the kind who want to be left alone and those who will not leave others alone. I want to be left alone, and the people in the judiciary meeting that was just done a little while ago, those are the group that don't want to leave others alone. So the issue here is that they're going to go take for instance the red flag laws. The red flag laws are designed very specifically to take away three things all in one go: First Amendment, Second Amendment, and Fourth Amendment in one hand, just one clean movement. The judiciary meeting on WN earlier today was, again, a declaration of intent. What they're going to do is they're going to declare anyone they don't like a white nationalist, and that's what's going to put the teeth into the red flag laws, and vice versa. They go hand in hand. So what's going to happen is people are going to be accused of being nationalists or white nationalists or what have you. Once that happens, they will come to you. So it's not a matter of don't approach them. They're going to come to you. They will come, I'm not speaking to Jonathan Pohl specifically, but just to anyone, to any of us. They're going to come to us. They will approach us with accusations and lies, and they will do everything they can to harm us, to attack us, because that's their program. That is actually their program. And this is why, and because within the context of a court hearing, at the moment we still have the visage, the superficial veneer of fairness, but that is absolutely being eroded and chipped away. The fairness is based on the idea that you can't be punished for things you didn't do. That's what the idea is right now. Innocent until proven guilty, ostensibly. Clearly the red flag laws fly in the face of that, because you are literally guilty until proven innocent. Literally, that is what's going on with the red flag laws. So when it comes to being attacked on a legal level by these people, you're going to have to basically play word games with them. And unfortunately, these people have been doing this for their entire lives. So we are at a bit of a disadvantage. This is not good. And this is why I harp on things like try to be clear in your use of language, and try to understand that when they are attacking you with spurious and ridiculous and baseless accusations, with outright lies and slander, you have to object. You have to correct them. You have to say, no, that's not the case. I never said that. Because if you don't say that, then it stands. If they make an accusation and you do not object, they will count it as your tacit admission that that accusation was correct. That's really important to understand. Legalists are very into this stuff, and they will use your lack of an objection as a mark against you. These people are vicious. Anyhow, I am now, I think, going to prepare myself to read some more Maimonides, and we are at the 10-minute mark, I think. Oh geez, 18-minute. Heavens to Betsy. And let's see, yesterday I read On the Purpose of Man, and there's another one called On the Purpose of Man and the World to Come. And this one is 2 pages long. It's really, really short. Tomorrow I've got a big day ahead of me, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the next essay, and then I'm going to play an album and perhaps call it a bit of an early night. But before I do that, I am going to play some music. And let's see here. We've got... No, we're not going to do that one. We are going to do this one. This is an older track that I've played approximately 1 million times, but I happen to like this track, so all distress aside, let's go ahead and have something a little bit more calming and pleasant before we dive into some Maimonides talking about the purpose of man and the world to come. AFK BRB.
This could be your year. Make an old man proud of you. Forget about the tears on the level. See me eye to eye. Stand up like a man, even from the other side. On the level, on the level. Never had a choice. to my final day. Who's there left to play? On the level. On the level. On the level. On the level. On the level.
Alrighty, so that was Mac DeMarco, and sorry about the jump in volume there. That was not cool on my part. At any rate, so we're gonna go back to freaking Maimonides, and that's gonna be the plan of action. Also, gonna go ahead and press H to wish Jonathan Pohl a happy birthday. Happy birthday, big guy. Alright, and now we're going to read just a little bit about more on the purpose of man and, quote, world to come, end quote. Yesterday we learned that the purpose of man was actually to serve the elites, essentially. That was genuinely what Maimonides said, and that it was good and moral for the elites, essentially, to live off of the toil of others. Some qualifications there, some reservations. I understand-ish what is being said, though I don't agree with a lot of the implications. So, anyhow, because remembering that I'm okay in dealing with the quote-unquote with the quote elites, end quote, of my own kind. I am all right with basically my own people deciding that they think of themselves as being better than me. In general, Anglos will tend to be okay with the lower classes, other Anglos in general, not absolute. So it's I've had some okay experiences with some of them here in Los Angeles. That said, when we're talking about an outgroup deciding that it is superior to you, and then deciding that it is the purpose of the common man to work for the elites, that takes on a very different tone when we're talking about the people deciding that they're the elites, deciding that the common man of outgroup is to serve them. So this is the context that we're dealing with. The purpose of man, the purpose of the goy is to serve the chosenites. This is how I am reading this. So that was the previous. And now we're going to go over to more on the purpose of man and the, quote, world to come by Maimonides. Here we are. The purpose, parenthetical, of existence, and parenthetical, is none other than the world to come, and for its sake is all the endeavor. weird sentence. Therefore, this, parenthetical, sage in the Mishnah, and parenthetical, who apprehends the truth, looks to the final end or purpose, and has left everything else, and said, quote, all Israel has a portion in the world to come, end quote. And although this is the purpose, it is not proper for one who wishes to serve God from love that he should serve in order to achieve the future world, as we have explained previously. Rather, he should serve in the way I shall explain. And this is that if he already believes that there is knowledge which has reached the prophets, according to which God informed them that the virtues are such and such, then he is obligated, in that he is upright, to draw close to the virtues and avoid the vices. And if he does this, he has perfected the human nature and is distinguished from the animals. Me oh my. And since he is made a perfect man, one of the qualities of man which nothing can prevent is that his soul shall live by its intellectual existence, and this is the future world, as we have explained it. This is the meaning of their saying, quote, be not like the horse or the mule, which have no understanding, end quote. That is, the thing which keeps them from being wild is an external thing, like the bit and the bridle. But man should not be so. Rather, what prevents him should be from a faculty of his soul, i.e., his human nature when it is perfect. This keeps him from those things which perfection prevents, which are called vices, and admonishes him about those things by which he is perfected, and they are called virtues. This is what appears to me from all their words in this lofty matter, in which there is tremendous significance. As our bracket, al-Azim al-Qatar Kafi understood this as, quote, danger, end quote, which is another meaning, but which doesn't seem likely to me. Okay, fair enough. Continuing, I intend to compose a book in which I shall gather all the allegories found in the Talmud and elsewhere to clarify them and explain them with an explanation fitting the truth, and bring proofs for all this from the words of the sages, and reveal what of them is literal, and what a parable, and what occurred in a dream, and they mentioned it in plain language as though it occurred in a waking state. In that composition I shall clarify all the things which I have mentioned in these my words here as samples, so that you may compare them. Let's see here. Epicurean is an Aramaic word, the meaning of which is making light and showing contempt for the Torah. Oh, really? Epicurean is, oh, wow. So anytime one is being an Epicurean, they're showing contempt for the Torah. Wowzers, wowzers, wowzers. I think I just became an Epicurean. I'm going to spell that out in the chat just for the sake of it. Boom. Epicurean. I like that. I like it. I was just looking into the Talmud earlier, and I was to understand that the Talmud, there's a great big civil war in, I guess, Assyria, all the way out to the Levant, I guess, and it involved two different Jewish tribes, one which was assimilating to Greek stuff, and the other one which decided they wanted to be more traditionalist or something. And I can't help but think that there's a lot in that I need to learn about. Anyway, this concept of Epicurean being against the Torah reminds me very much. Now, of course, Maimonides was, 1,000 years after that, but the point still stands that, basically there's a lot of contempt for the Greeks here. A lot. Continuing. Epicurean is an Aramaic word, the meaning of which is making light and showing contempt for the Torah or sages of the Torah, and therefore this name is applied in general to one who does not believe in the foundations of the Torah or is contemptuous of a scholar or his teacher. Extra canonical books, parenthetical, one who reads these is said to have no portion in the world to come. End parenthetical. These are the books of the Minin, and so also the books of Ben Sira, who was a man who composed books of delusions in matters of physiognomy, in which there is no wisdom or benefit, but a waste of time in vain things, like these books found among the Arabs of chronology and the customs of kings, and the genealogy of Arabic tribes, and books of songs, and the likes of these books, in which there is no wisdom and no physical benefit, but only a waste of time. So essentially, anything that is not the Torah is a waste of time. Also notice that, see here, a man who composed books of delusions in matters of physiognomy. I wonder if this is where Franz Boas got his concept of phrenology being a bunch of claptrap. I can't help but be reminded of Franz Boas there. Continuing, one who utters an incantation for a wound, specifically by spitting, for there is in this contempt for the name of God. One who pronounces the name of God in its letters, the tetragrammation? Strange. The sages already mentioned other things besides these, which one who does them has no share in the world to come. They said, quote, one who embarrasses, parenthetical, literally, whitens the face of, end parenthetical, his fellow by words has no portion in the world to come, end quote. And so one who calls his fellow by a nickname, parenthetical, which is insulting or embarrassing, end parenthetical, and so one who exalts himself by the disgrace of his fellow, this is because not one of these deeds can come, even if they are light in the opinion of the perpetrator, except from the soul which is lacking, which has not yet reached perfection, and is not worthy of the life in the world to come. So basically, autistic people. It seems as though only autistic people are going to be allowed. All right. It's 11:36, and I am just knackered. And it's mildly, I wish to continue doing normal stream, but I just don't have it in me. So I'm sorry to say, I'm going to play an album. Not that I'm sorry about playing an album per se, but it would have been nice to go through some more Maimonides. trying to get my sleep back in order, and the whole keto thing is really getting me wiped right now. I've gone down to a single teaspoon of honey in the morning and also a glass of wine at night, and so no calorie. I don't eat anything after 9 p.m. So at the moment, I'm going off of willpower more than anything. So yeah, as it turns out, really watching your diet has very real effects on your mental state and on your energy levels. So it looks like I've got another couple of weeks to battle through this. Anyhow, let's see here. Conversion therapy, Epicurean, is often used today to mean something like decadent, when in reality, Epicurus loved simple lifestyle, eating a simple diet. Yeah. He lived a simple lifestyle, eating a simple diet. Yeah, my understanding about Epicurus, is that he was all about moderation. So, we all have appetites. We all love things. Like I really like my honey and yogurt. That's how I start my day. I like to have honey and yogurt. I think it's great. But in the Epicurean manner, I do recognize that all things in moderation. If you're going to do something, don't go too crazy with it. So that's why I only have a teaspoon with my honey, and I've found that it works out quite nicely. So that's the deal. Anyway, okay, I am going to now move over to the album. It's going to be the plan of action. Didn't do any case streaming, but as per usual, of all the things that I could or would advocate, one of the few things that I'm very serious about, I do think that we have a God-given right to keep and bear arms. We were not gifted with claws or fangs or venomous stingers. So what do we have? We have our intellect, and since the world can be a rough place, we have, with our intellect, constructed tools by which we may defend ourselves against bad actors. And these tools are called firearms. These are our stingers, and I am perfectly comfortable exercising my God-given right to keep and bear arms so that I may defend myself against a tyrannical government which sadly seems to be manifesting all around me presently. And if one is to exercise his or her God-given right to keep and bear arms, I do think it's a great idea to have at the tip of one's mind the 4 rules of firearms safety. Rule number 1, always treat every firearm like it is loaded. Rule number 2, never cover or sweep anything that you are not willing to destroy. Rule number 3, your finger stays off of the trigger until your targets are on sight. And the 4th and final rule is be aware of your target and what's beyond it. Safety first. And now I'm going to play. What album am I going to play? We're going to play Lucid Sound Driver. Yeah, this is a great album. I like this one a lot. I'm feeling quite sleepy. This is a sleepy time album, and so I guess it all kind of fits. This will be exactly enough time for me to brush and floss my teeth, which everyone here should do. Alright guys, I'll be getting back to my Maimonides tomorrow. Cheers.